Hey, what's up, y'all? Let's play Enchantment by Balmages on the trumpet. Don't forget to slow the video down using the settings button if you need to. And don't forget to stick around to the end where I'm going to go over some tips and tricks to make this thing sound awesome for your concert. Here we go. Count your multi-measures rest. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 2. Kick slide out. Horn optional. I think probably the most fun about that song is counting the rests. I was a trumpet player. I am a trumpet player. I lived that life where you're just like sitting around counting rests and you're like trying to come up with fun ways to stay engaged. Just don't be silly in the concert like I was, but you know, have fun in band class sometimes. Your band director, if they have a sense of humor, will probably be okay with it for a little while until it starts to bug them, probably like the week of the concert or the week before the concert. All right, let's talk about what we can do in this thing to make it sound great. So first off, you got to make sure you're disciplined with these multi-measures rests. I know that's a long time to count. It's a long time to be off, but trust it. Trust the process. You'll get a great gold star from your band teacher, your musical leader, if you do that correctly and come in here when you're supposed to. When you come in at measure 9, and basically for this whole song, have your third slide kicked out some. You know where your D is supposed to be in terms of the kick slide being out, if your band teacher has taught you that. If they haven't taught you that, sit down with a tuner, play a D, and see how far out you have to move that kick slide out in order for it to be in the green or in tune, 0 cent sharp and flat, comparatively with like your G and your low C. So like play like C, D, and see if you can get both to be in the green. You might have to kick that slide out some, or maybe go G, D, and practice G down to D and see how far out it needs to be so it's 0 cents, sharp and flat, or close to it. Play with that thing out in that spot the entire song. There's really no point in putting it back in. A lot of our kick slides move slow anyway. As you come in here, you're going to be growing ever so slightly louder and louder. You don't want to go overboard with this forte. You want it to be full, but you don't want it to be like bombastic. This is not a story song about like people going to war. It's a story about enchantment and witches and magic and wonder. So you don't want to be playing as if like there's guns going off. This is on a march. So keep it low, lower than forte. Don't go green light, 10 out of 10 volume. All right. Measure 16, that D comes back in. If you have that kick slide out, it'll work just fine. Make sure your A sounds great and it's not too high in pitch. You might have to bring it down with your face a little bit. No. Try just bringing it down ever so slightly. A lot of you trumpet players who are young playing this song, you may have trouble with that high C. You can play it low if your band leader gives you the okay to do so. There's some other optional notes you might be able to write in, like a instead of the C, if you're really having trouble with it. My suggestion though, y'all, just keep working on it. I never learned how to play high by never practicing it. I learned how to play high by trying to play high. And I looked and searched for help in all the places I could find. And eventually I learned how the tips and tricks to be able to do it. And a lot of it is internal. It's inside the mouth. It's stuff that like your teacher can't see. And you just have to kind of figure out. So that's the cool and challenging part, right? If it wasn't challenging, it'd be boring, right? Da, da, da. Not da, da, da. Make sure that has some space between it. You've got a long time off between measure 22 and the next time you come in at measure 31. So be disciplined. Know when you're supposed to come in. These French horn cues happen in music sometimes. Sometimes your band director or band teacher will not have a French horn in the band, and they'll say something to the effect of, hey, trumpet, I need one of you to play this slow part at measure 27, or maybe two of you, or maybe clarinets play this part. That's okay. Trust them. It's okay. I didn't play them because I didn't want to give you a false sense of what it should sound like every time for every band, but you may get that option. The other thing that happens sometimes with these cues notes is they'll tell you where you're at in the music. So if you're getting lost, if you're like halfway through the 6 count measure rest and you're like, oh, Jim, what count are we on? And he's like, I don't know. These cues here can help you know where you're at musically. So listen for the horn part, find that horn part when it comes in, and that'll help you prepare your trumpet to be able to come in at measure 31. I just about missed it because I was being silly. Anyway, keep it on going. Da, 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 da. Nothing here, too bad. Just don't overblow these low notes. It can really start to sound amateurish, not characteristic of the trumpet if you just blow as hard as you can. So keep these things mezzo piano, as it says. You do have a implied crescendo from measure 36 going into measure 39. Just don't go too hard on it. Give it just enough so that the musical leader is happy and giving you the like, yeah, this is great. It's kind of signal. If you're overblowing this, it could be traumatic for the band. They could get blown out by one single trumpet player, so be careful. This is all full. Da, 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 da. Hear those notes. Listen to this a lot. After like probably the 10th time you've played this song in a practice, you probably will pretty good at it. But do hear those. I didn't want to mention 2 notes at the same time. We can't play 2 notes at the same time, y'all. Don't do that. These are optional notes for people who can't get as high, perhaps also to fill out the chords. These E's belong in the chords. So your band director or your musical leader may say something like, play the low notes, you, and you, so that it fills the chord out, makes the band sound beefier and more sustained, more full volume without it being loud and abrasive. So it's an option. And if they don't tell you, don't jump around and play like E here and then A here. You want to stay on the same line. So E, 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 C, D, not E, A, E, F, D. You don't want to be switching around like that. This last note, man, I was sweating bullets. I thought I was going to have to re-record the whole video because I was going to crack that note. So the trick is put it on your face and give it a little, just a little something. If you miss it, not a big deal, right? But you don't want to be like, don't be that guy who like clobbers the last note because you're like, I'm not going to miss the last note. And then like get that weird sound, okay? Give it a little, and more than likely, you're going to play the E or the low A. Either one of those are great note choices in this chord, and that's a great trick that Brian Balmages did. Kudos for making sure that that's scored correctly. So if they miss it, it still sounds good. Make it soft though. All right. If this helped, like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below about how silly I am or how much fun you're having with this song and band. Look forward to hearing from you. And I do filter the comments. So like if you don't see your comment right away, I'm going to eventually let it through. I do that because of all the spammy bots out there that like to troll the YouTube videos. Anyway, y'all are awesome. Keep up the good work. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.